So what we're doing is regripping the golf club. I'm regripping mine because I want to go from the standard grip to the medium sized grip, which is a little bit larger. You can see that in the back, see what size you're working with in the back side of the club. I guess in this case it doesn't say anything at all, but in the case of the Golf Pride ones, it says mid-size. This is the MCC plus 4 mid-size grip. And you can see it down the shaft. It's a good bit thicker than the other one. That's what I'm switching for, to get that thickness across the whole gripping area. So my first step is going to be to get this label off of this grip, just so it's ready when I go to use it. These are on there pretty good sometimes. Use a knife like I am, don't cut your grip. Okay, got that guy open. You're going to need some tools in general to do this. Not a whole bunch, but a few. The regular box knife, razor blade, whatever you call it. The hook knife is nice, but not needed if you got this. And we have a shaft, I guess rubber vise grip, I'm not sure. But what it does is you put the shaft in here, and when you put it in the vise, put the shaft in the vise, it'll clamp on this, so you won't damage your shaft. I recommend some painter's tape, you'll see why in a moment. Pin, golf grip tape. I got these strips, you can buy it in rolls. Cut it to length, or these strips are already ready, that's kind of good. You need some solvent. I bought this Wedge Guys kit with this solvent, tape, this knife, and this thing. It was like 15 bucks on Amazon. I've done at least 6-7 grips, so it looks like it might get you close to 13. Then I have my level out here just for something straight. You'll see why that is. The way I see it is that the factory comes in fairly straight most of the time. This one actually looks a little not straight, but so what I like to do is leverage their marking. That's where the painter's tape comes in. Tear you off a small piece. Get it on the top of the shaft. Just wrap it around. There's no certain amount. We're just using this so we can draw on it. Then we take our pin, kind of mark down, straight from the line. Straight onto the painter's tape. Probably not going to be visible in the video, but it will be on the painter's tape. And so what we're trying to do there is just kind of borrow that line, at least so once the whole thing is off, we'll be close. So now the next step in my case is to get this clamp on here, this clamp piece, get it in the vise. You should be able to turn it with the club head. That should be fairly firm otherwise. You don't want to have enough tightness here that you either damage your shaft or break this loose trying to turn it. You have done a really poor job to do that. It'll be way over tight. Next step, once you're in the clamp, remove the old grip. Try not to cut yourself. In my case, I probably should cut away from me, but here we are. Tear this grip off. There you go. Another thing I do is dig out the old tape. At least in the case of the Callaways, they use extra long tape. They go all the way over the back end, which is fine. But then you get this big tape knot in the back. So just take it out. The rest will come off with the cutting. This part's a little more time consuming now. Now we gotta scrape all this tape off. On the metal shafts, the razor blade won't dig into this, but if you're doing a graphite shaft like a driver or wood, or if you happen to have graphite irons, it'll dig in, so be careful. That you might want to take more time there so you don't dig in as much. But on these ones, you can pretty much just go, and it goes pretty quick. If I lock my vise down, it won't wiggle so much on me. Make it work a little easier. You can also hold it from the back while you work. Shouldn't take you much force to do this. Should be pretty hard to cut yourself here. Now we've cleaned off that part, we'll turn it by the club head like I was mentioning earlier. Put some more on top. I'm blocking the video. My arm. Try not to. I probably don't have to. Clean that stuff up. So you can see that it's all strippy. The way I'm using a knife on a round surface, it's pretty impractical to scrape it all totally clean. But what you try to do is you get the big chunks. And then I got a trick for getting the rest out. Well, it works pretty good for that. It's WD-40, which I don't think I mentioned in the materials list. But just do WD-40. You don't need that smart straw or none of that. All you're wanting is the penetrant here, WD-40. And then I like to use paper towels. So you get a clean towel and a wet towel, I guess. The wet towel will be wetted with WD-40. And the clean towel is just to dry this stuff off. Spray some on. You'll see it cleans the stuff off of here pretty good. So you notice some of it's not coming off. Now you can go back, and it's probably not necessary. So you can scratch at it a little bit. Some of it's paper towel residue. Oh. Cut some more off. Wipe it down one more time. Now we'll take our dry towel, just clean up any WD-40 residue hopefully. And go down the shaft with it. Now it's pretty clean. Next step, take your tape. Get it on there. I like to start more, if you have these fixed length pieces, I don't really shoot for the middle. I like to shoot towards the back. You don't really grip on the last 1/4 inch. I'm more concerned with the back. So start pretty darn far back. Get this tape going on there real good. Don't have any bubbles. Start on the one side and roll around. These ones have little covers on them. Continue to roll around from the bottom. Alright. In case of these, I gotta take this back cover off now. This one's sticking more than most of my tape. There you go, got it. Got a little gap here, we'll just kind of rub the seam out. Alright, tape's on. Next step is solvent and grip. So let's get this out of the way. Grab our new grip. We already took the label off it, so we're ready there. So some spot. Got our solvent and our grip. It's only the last 2 tools we need. Wrong clamp. Get that reclamped. Okay. Break the vise loose, and I'm going to put it over my catch here. Go the other way. On longer clubs, you gotta have more room to spin your vise like that. You can always regrip it too. So there's 2 steps here. One, you take this solvent, you spray it over this guy, it'll kind of run down. Next step is, most people plug the little hole in the end with their finger. Fill some up, do it over this in case you lose any. Shake it, that should help get it all around the inside. Then with your finger over here, it'll act as a vacuum. Get ready, let go, and it'll drip over. You'll see. That's how you can apply the most solvent to it. Be least wasteful, especially if you got a little container like this guy. I don't really know how much I'm putting in there, but make sure you can hear it slosh a little bit. Okay. More than other times. So now, I should have done this already, but we'll find our line. Find the line here. Got the Golf Pride logo on the up grip. I like to push from the back, slide it up, all the way up. You'll see it sucks back quite a bit. Make sure you got your butt in square. I've had it where they haven't been square and I had to knock them square. Usually you got some time, but just don't mess that up. Take a look at it. And just keep push it up a few times and eventually it'll settle pretty close to where it was. I think these grips might be a hair shorter than my previous ones. Either that or they brought them up and they held them up till the solid set, but so now you can see that those lines are fairly straight. You should be able to put this on there and line up all few of them. It doesn't look half bad. You need to be looking at the iron when you go to strike it anyway. Don't 100% trust the grip. Especially what I've seen at the stores, they just eyeball it. Like I am here. I'm not perfect. I doubt your grips are perfect either. And you wouldn't start swinging or nothing, but put it in your hand, grip it, make sure it looks about right. Looks pretty straight to me. That's probably the final test before you determine if you're done. You can take the tape off now or let it set if you want. This thing's useless now. We've already used it to get us in the ballpark. This time it looks pretty straight. I've had others I wanted to tweak it since. So I don't know if that meant the last grip was crooked or I marked it crooked, but make sure you take a look at it. That's all I got. It's how to grip a golf club. Let it set, let it cure, get all sticky in there. Thanks. Bye.